Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in for Srila Prabhupada book study today, in the auspicious day on the month of Gita Marathon, in the auspicious month of Srila Prabhupada book distribution marathon, in the auspicious month of Katyayani Vrata. Thank you very much for joining in. We'll start with the prayers. Om Jnanatimrindasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaura Dushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Jaitam Suradau Pangur Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasvapadam Bojau Shri Radha Madan Mohanau Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastau Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishthali Vi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambhir Mamshi Bhata Tatastitah Karshan Venur Swanayat Gopir Gopinatha Shriyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Dharale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatrapadamaham Mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Meeshwaram Hari Om Tatsat. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in for the study of Srila Prabhupada's book. So we are studying the book Raja Vidya, the King of Knowledge, by His Divine Grace Abhicharanaravind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So in this we've been reading about what is the King of Knowledge. What is that knowledge which will take us out of this material world and not keep us in this world. So Prabhupada has been discussing about how the real knowledge is not how to eat better, how to sleep better, how to get better facilities for mating, or how to get better facilities for defending, rather how to get out of this material world, right? We are all entangled in the Prabhupada says in his lecture how we are entangled in the complexities of the material nature, and what is the way to go back home, back to Godhead. So one is to know what is samsara, what is the knowledge beyond samsara, what is the process to go beyond samsara, and then finally in the chapter number 4, which we're reading now, we are now understanding that this knowledge has to be by following the ways of the Mahatmas or the great souls, right? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakritim ashritah. So what do the Mahatmas do? The Mahatmas take shelter of the internal pleasure potency of the Lord. They serve the internal energy of the Lord, right? We're talking about 3 energies of the Lord, being internal energy, external energy, and marginal energy. Internal energy is Srimati Radharani herself, right? Who's serving the Lord all the time, who's engaging everybody in the service of the Lord, right? And then external energy of the Lord is Maya Devi. Maya Devi is also a devotee of the Lord. Maya Devi is given this task of testing all of the individuals in this material world And when they pass the test, then they are all handed over to the Yoga Maya to carry on their spiritual duties eternally in the spiritual world, or the Vaikunta, where there is no anxiety. And then the third energy we saw is the Tatastha Shakti. What is the Tatastha Shakti? Tatastha Shakti means we are like the banks of the river. Sometimes we are wet, sometimes we are dry. That means sometimes you are so much wanting to engage in devotional service. Sometimes you want to engage so much in sense gratification. So we have a free will. We have a choice on whom we want to serve. Whether we want to serve the internal pleasure potential of the Lord, or whether we want to exploit the material nature, right? So Daivi, what is that verse? Mahatmanastu mam partha. Mahatma are great souls, right? Krishna is telling Partha, oh son of Pratha, oh son of Kunti, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakriti ashritaha. So the great souls, what do? They take shelter at the internal pleasure potential of the Lord. They serve Yoga Maya. They serve they serve the Lord and not their own senses. Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakriti ashritaha. Ashritaha means they take shelter of Yoga Maya. Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakriti ashritaha. And another verse Krishna tells, what is that? Daivi hayyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Right? Similarly, also Lord Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita that this divine energy of mind, which is Maya Devi, is also very difficult to overcome. But Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. One who surrenders unto me can cross over the ocean of material existence. Right? So with this background, we will continue to read this chapter 4 from this book, wherein now we're going to study about why the Lord is incarnating every time and again, right? Why? Because the Lord wants to attract us so that we can go back to Godhead, right? And then we were also seeing that the concept of three doers, right? We cannot say that we claim to do everything. Why? Because there are three doers who are explained in Bhagavad Gita. One is the Jiva, who are we, right? What is our duty? Our duty is to desire. We desire to do certain things, and then we put our endeavor to perform those things. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Yeah. So we endeavor to do those things, right? One second. Where did it go? Yeah. Okay. So we desire, as jivas, we desire something, and then we endeavor to pursue those things, right? So we are the first doers. Who's the second doer? The second doer we saw is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, who sanctions tatastu. When the Lord gives His blessing tatastu, then only those things will get sanctioned. And when it gets sanctioned, what is the next step? The next step is Prakriti arranges for those things to happen in this material world, right? The situations are arranged by Prakriti so that our desires get fulfilled. So we cannot claim we cannot claim to be controllers of the activities that we perform, because we are not the sole owners, or we are not the sole doers. We are only part of the entire team of three people who are actually resulting in that particular action to happen. Yeah. So now let us go on. Wherein we ended off with this, right? The controlling power is Lord Sri Krishna, and because of Lord Krishna's sanction, nature actually carries out all of our material desires, right? All right. So let me share my screen, and then now we will continue reading from chapter 4 of this book, Raja Vidya, the King of Knowledge, wherein now Prabhupada is going to talk about why we are not able to see the Lord, right? How is it possible to recognize the Lord? How do we get that divine vision? Prema Anjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hrideshu Vilokayanti. How can we develop the eyes to see the Lord? That's what is the next section. I'll request Karpagavali Mataji, would you like to go ahead and read? Krishna was present on earth.
Thank you, Mataji Dandatna.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna was present on this earth and appeared just like a human being with supernatural power. At that time, however, 99% of the people could not recognize him as God. They could not recognize him because they had no eyes to see. Param Bhavam Ajnananta. How it is possible? How is it?
Parambhavam ajanantah. Parambhavam ajanantah. Ajanantah. Right? Jananta means one knows something. Main janti hu. Like that we tell, right? In Hindi we say main janti hu. So janti hu means I know it. Ajanantah means Krishna is not understandable by those who are not pure devotees. Parambhavam, he is the Supreme Lord, but yet Yogamaya covers or puts the veil in front of all those people who want to become God, who don't want to serve God, who want to be served. For those people, they cannot recognize God even when the Lord is in front of them. Right? Parambhavam ajanantaha. They cannot know the Supreme Lord. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
How is it possible to recognize God? He can be recognized through his supernatural power by the evidence of authorities and of the scriptures. As far as Krishna is concerned, every Vedic authority has accepted him as God. When he was present on earth, his activities were superhuman. If one does not believe this, it is to be concluded that he will not believe whatever evidence is given. Scroll up, Mataji. One must also have the eyes to see God. God cannot be seen by material senses. Therefore, the Bhakti Yoga process purifies the senses, so we will be able to understand what and who God is. We have the power of seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and so on. But if these senses are blunt, we cannot understand God. The process of Krishna consciousness is to train these senses through regulative principles, specifically by chanting Hare Krishna. See, Krishna further characterizes the moods.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
reading
Mama.
this section.
Thank
Very
you.
yeah, Hare Krishna. So one must have the eyes to see God. How do we develop the eyes to see God? Prema Anjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. How do we get this Anjan that we apply in our eyes? Because otherwise, we don't have love for God, right? We cannot see God even when the Lord is in front of us, right? Krishna is personally present. And then the Pandavas also could see him, the Kauravas also could see him. Yudhishthira Maharaj and Arjuna could see him, and even Duryodhana could see him. But Duryodhana could not understand that this is Krishna, the Supreme Lord. He was trying to, he said, I will not even give a drop of land which can be occupied by the pin, right? By the dropping of a pin. That much land also I will not give the Pandavas, right? But whom did he tell? He told Krishna himself, who went as a Duta, right? He went on behalf of the Pandavas, so that this war can be avoided. But Duryodhana was not ready at all, isn't it? So Duryodhana could see Krishna, yet he could not see Krishna. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, was present in front of him, yet he could not see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas Arjuna did have this Jnana Chakshusha. Arjuna had this Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Because of that bhakti, right? Krishna says, you are my friend, you are non-envious of me. That is why I'm giving this knowledge to you. Right? So how do we understand the power of seeing, the power of hearing, the power of touching, the power of tasting, etc.? With this, na bhaved grahim indriyahi. Atha Sri Krishna namadhi na bhaved grahim indriyahi. With our ears, with our nose, with our eyes, with our mouth, with our touch, we cannot see, we cannot sparsha, we cannot feel the Supreme Lord. Right? But Semun Mukehi Jivadav. But when we engage our tongue in the service of the Lord, by chanting Hare Krishna, by honoring Krishna Prasadam, Swayam Eva Suratyadaha. The Lord says, I will personally reveal myself into those devotees who actually render service to me. That is the way of seeing God. We cannot see God with our eyes, with our material eyes. We see the Lord, we see the holy dams of the Lord by hearing about the Lord from a bona fide authority. So what is the process? Train our senses through regulative principles, specifically by Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Namnam Kali Kalmashanashanam Nato Paratoropaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. All the Vedic scriptures are saying the same thing. Right? Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. This is the tripod which will help us to enable and understand who is the Lord, who are we, what is our duty towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Now Krishna is going to further characterize mudhas. Who are mudhas? Namam duskritino mudha prapadyante naradamaha maya aparutha jnana asuram bhava masrita. Right? Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita there are 4 kinds of mudhas. Who are they? They don't accept the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are the lowest among mankind. Naradamaha. right? Maya apruta jnana, whose intelligence is stolen by illusion, and asuram bhava masritaha. That means who have partaken the characteristic of atheists or asuras. These people cannot understand, and they are called as demons. They are called as mudhas. That means they are called as fools, right? So here Krishna is further talking about the mudhas, the characteristics of the mudhas. What do they do? Mogasha moga karmano moganyana vichetasaha Rakshasim Asurim Chaiva Prakritim Mohinim Ashratah. Prakritim Mohinim. That means they are so bewildered by their fruitive activities, their hopes of liberation, by their tendency to enjoy sense gratification, that they cannot understand the Supreme Lord. Why? Because Yoga Maya, that curtain is there. The Yoga Maya has already put the veil or the curtain in front of these demonic people so that they cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is a scene here in respect of those people who cannot perceive who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, so let me share the screen again. Yeah, so somebody can read this section. Mogasha Moga Karmano Moga Jnana Vichetasaha Rakshasim Asurim Chaiva Prakritim Mohinim Ashritaha. Shruti Mataji, go ahead. Those who are thus bewildered.
Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Bhagavad Gita 9.12. The word Moksha indicates that the aspirations of the atheists will be baffled. The karmis of fruitive leaders always hope for something better to gratify their senses. There is no limit to where they will stop. They are trying to increase their bank balance and are hoping to be happy at a certain point. But that point never comes because they do not know the ultimate point of satiation. Those who are enamored by the attractions of the illusionary energy cannot understand that ultimate aim of life. The word Moga Karmana indicates that they are laboring hard, but in the end that they will only meet with frustration. Unless we are established in Krishna consciousness, all of our activities will be baffled at the end. This is not the verdict of an ordinary man, but of Krishna himself. If we search for knowledge, we should research to find out whether Krishna is not God. Without any objective, what is the point of thousands of years of speculation? The Supreme Lord is so vast that one cannot reach him by mental speculation. If we travel at the speed of mind and wind for millions of years, it is not possible to reach the Supreme by speculation. There is not a single instance in which someone has arrived at the supreme truth by means of his own speculation. Therefore, the word Moga Gnana indicates that the process of mundane knowledge is bewildering. Through our own endeavor, it is not possible to see the sun after it has set. We have to wait until the sun reveals itself in the morning at sunrise. If it is not possible with our limited senses to perceive a material thing like the sun, how is it possible to perceive the non-material? We cannot find out or understand Krishna by our own endeavor. We have to qualify ourselves to Krishna consciousness and wait for him to reveal himself. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam ena mam upayantite. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Krishna
Hare
is
Krishna.
within.
Thank you. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here the formula for understanding transcendental knowledge is given by Prabhupada, right? What Krishna tells in 10.11 of the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturshloki, the 4th verse. He says, Tesham evanu kampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha, right? I will destroy the ignorance in the hearts of those devotees who are engaging in my service, right? Before that, the 2-3 verses back, before that, 10.9, he says, Machittamatkata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Right? The devotees, my devotees, what do? They discuss about me, they relish my pastimes, and they have great pleasure in conversing about me. That's what Krishna says. And then he says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. They engage in my worship with love, priti purvakam. And then dadami buddhi yogam tam, Tesham satat yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give them the intelligence, dadami buddhi yogam tam, yenamam upayantite, by which they can come back to me. Next verse, again he reiterates that. What does he say? Teshamevanu kampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayami atmabhavasto jnana deepena bhashvataha. So our knowledge comes not by speculating, right? Yeah, 90. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. Right? The Vasco da Gama, he discovered America, right? So he went to various places. He just extrapolated something, speculation, and then finally found, right? But that does not happen the way in the spiritual parlance. The transcendental knowledge is not obtained by mental speculation, because we are subject to the 4 defects, right? What are the 4 defects we are subject to? We are subject to illusion. We have imperfect senses. We are subject to committing mistakes. We are subject to committing cheating, right? We are subject to all of this. So mental speculation using our material senses will not help us attain transcendental knowledge. How can we attain transcendental knowledge? By serving the Lord will remove the ignorance in the heart. The Lord will give the transcendental knowledge. The Lord will light the lamp of transcendental knowledge in the heart of those who are engaged in their service. That is the sum and substance of this. Otherwise, they will be entangling in mogasha, moga karmano, moga jnana visheshataha. Right? Moha means illusion, that which is not. Right? We'll be completely rotating into what is not. And in this way, we will get, like Prabhupada says, we'll get continuously entangled in the complexities of the material nature. And we'll get so much bewildered that we are not able to get out of this complexities of the material nature. Okay, so let's continue reading. We'll read now. Krishna is within. Sindhu Mataji, go ahead. Krishna is within, but due to our material conditioning. Hare Krishna, yes.
Krishna is within, but due to our material conditioning, we do not realize it. Those who are of the nature of fiends and demons, fiends and demons, Rakshashi, Mashuri, think that this material life is all, and that it is the purpose of human life to squeeze out as much as pleasure from matter as possible. They try squeezing, but they are constantly baffled. The squeezing material nature is not the process for finding out the real pleasure. If we are searching for real pleasure, we have to take to Krishna consciousness. All happiness in the material world has a beginning and an end, but happiness in Krishna is unlimited and there is no end. In order to get this happiness, we simply have to sacrifice a little time and chant Hare Krishna.
Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
Chant Hare Krishna. In former ages, the great sages and demigods used to sacrifice their whole lives for realizing the Supreme, and still they would not attain success. For this age, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given an easy process for God realization. All that is necessary is careful listening. We have to listen to the Bhagavad Gita, and we have to chant the names of Krishna and listen to them carefully. We should not be puffed up falsely, thinking that our knowledge is great or that we are very learned. We need only become a little gentle and submissive to hear the messages from Krishna. At present, this world is being managed by the Rakshasas. The Rakshasas are man-eaters who eat their own sons for the satisfaction of their senses. Now, great regimes have been created to smash so many people for the satisfaction of the Rakshasa senses, but they do not realize that their senses will never be satisfied in this way. Nonetheless, the Rakshasas are prepared to sacrifice everything to satisfy their whimsical desires. It's very difficult for them to understand the real situation because they are overly enamored with material civilization. Who then can understand? Those who are Mahatmas, whose hearts have become magnified, understand that everything belongs to God and I also belong to God. Hare Krishna. Shall I continue?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Madhuri. So here, 2-3 important points have been covered by Srila Prabhupada. What are those points? Who cannot understand Krishna? And then now, how can we understand Krishna, especially in this age of Kali? Right? We saw who cannot understand Krishna. Mogasha, Moga Karmano, Moga Jnana Vichetasaha. Those who are illusioned by Maya, those whose intelligence is stolen by Maya, they cannot understand Krishna. However, in this age of Kali, Kale Doshe Nidhe Rajan, Astihi Ekon Mahan Gunaha, Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajat, right? Kale Doshe Nidhe Rajan, right? So this Kali Yuga is full of faults. Yet, it is very, very easy to understand and attain the perfection of life in this Kali Yuga. Why? Because Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajat, right? It is full of, it's an ocean of faults. However, simply by engaging in this process of Kirtan or chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajat, right? It is very easy to attain Mukti. What is Mukti? Mukti hitvan yatha rupam swarupena vyavasthitihi. It is very easy for one to become situated in one's constitutional position as a servant of the Lord and engage in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very important point given by Prabhupada here. The more we get this transcendental knowledge, the more our heart will be filled with humility. Tranadapi shunichena taroriva sahishruna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Kirtaniya sadahari can be done only when we are Tranadapi shunichena. When we are more humble than a blade of grass, when we are more tolerant than a tree, when we offer all respects to others and we don't expect any respect in return. Only then we can do Kirtaniya Sadahari, right? Otherwise, the more we accumulate material knowledge, right? We may be scholars or we may be learned all the verses of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitam. We can quote a lot of verses, right? But we are not going to please the Lord by our quoting of the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because Krishna is the ultimate source of all knowledge. So Krishna is not impressed by knowledge. Krishna is impressed by our devotion. Krishna is impressed by our love. Krishna is impressed by our humility. Krishna is pleased by our humility, our wanting to respect others, our tolerance, right? Our enthusiasm to serve him, our determination to serve him, and our patience to serve him. Krishna is not pleased by hearting certain shlokas or talking like erudite scholars, right? All that, what are we doing? We are only satisfying our own senses by all of that, right? Because all of that is sense gratification, right? Dharma, artha, kama, and even moksha. Moksha is also sense gratification because we want to get relieved of all the material suffering. That's why we want to go back home, back to Godhead. That is also considered sense gratification. However, when our only desire, mama janmani ishware, bhavatat bhakti rahaitukitve, when our only desire is to serve and satisfy and please Guru and Gauranga, then we actually become devotees. Then we become Mahatmas, right? Prabhupada gives a very beautiful definition here. Mahatmas are those whose hearts have become magnified, right? It's no longer aham mameti. What is in it for me? What can I get by practicing Krishna consciousness, right? That is a neophyte mentality, right? When do we become Mahatmas? We become Mahatmas when our hearts become magnified and we understand that everything belongs to God and I also belong to God. So Prabhupada is now going to explain further who is a Mahatma, right? We already know. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashtadha. Mahatmas always want to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And such Mahatmas are very rare, durlabha. Right? Such Mahatmas are very rare. We cannot find so many Mahatmas in this age of Kali because everyone is trying to find out how can I derive pleasure? What is in it for me? Right? How can I derive pleasure? How can I engage in sense gratification? Right? Hardly few. Right? Krishna also says, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanaman mam prapadyate. Right? Lot of people may have lot of knowledge, but very few. Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatmasu durlabha. Vasudeva sarvamiti. To understand that Krishna is the source of everything. Krishna is Krishna is the proprietor of everything. Krishna is the supreme CEO. Krishna is the supreme controller. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Krishna is the supreme owner. I also belong to Krishna, right? When I belong to Krishna, what will I do? I will do what Krishna wants. I will not do what I want. I will not engage in personal sense gratification. So in this way, such Mahatmasu durlabha, such Mahatmas or those people who take shelter of the internal pleasure potential of the Lord are very, very rare, right? So now Prabhupada is going to talk further about who are the actual Mahatmas. Oh, okay, we are running short of time, so we'll end here with Harinam Sankirtan. So tomorrow when we are starting to read this, we will continue with who are the actual Mahatmas and how is it possible for us to become a Mahatma or not? Yeah. So now we'll do Harinam Sankirtan and then we'll end our session. Thank you all for joining in. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyaudishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jagannatha Jaya, Baladeva Jaya, Subhadrama Jaya, Sudarshana Jaya, Balagopal Jaya, Balagopal Jaya, Balagopal Jaya, Balagopal Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Gurudev Nitai, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. श्रीयाम संकीर्तन की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, अनंत कोटि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय. All glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories, all glories, all glories. Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in. May I know who all are there in today's session? Okay, I see Sarva Gopeshwari Mataji. Thank you for joining in. Pallavi Mataji has joined us like every day. Thank you so much, Mataji. Vijayalakshmi Priya has joined us today. Sindhu Mataji has joined us today. All right. Thank you very much. Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Pratithanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Sri Gurudev ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. So we meet you all tomorrow morning 5 a.m. for our Brahmamurta chanting, and then we meet in the evening at 6 o'clock for our study of Srila Prabhupada's books. And in between, whenever we have the time, we have to make time. Actually, it's not that when we have the time, we have to make time to go out and distribute Prabhupada's books, get sponsorship for Prabhupada's books. Right, this month we try our best to get maximum distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books, maximum sponsorship for distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books, right? So that we can, it's called Gita Dan, right? The best charity. Dan is an essential aspect of a grahastha. So the best dhan is Gita Dan, because we are giving transcendental knowledge, right? Not our own. We are thereby guiding. Like today we read, mental speculation is not the way to obtain transcendental knowledge. So we're giving this Bhagavad Gita with Srila Prabhupada's purports. We're not giving Bhagavad Gita verses in translation by anybody. No, we are giving Prabhupada's purports. And anybody who reads the Prabhupada's purports to these transcendental verses of the Bhagavad Gita will be able to transform one's life and lead a life of being conscious of Krishna all the time. So in this way, we want to give that benediction to everybody, whatever benefit we have got, right? I always tell this thing in Tamil. I don't know what is the proverb in English, but it says, Yan Petra Inbam Periga Yuvayagam. Right? Whatever pleasure I have derived by following this path of Krishna consciousness, I want to share it with others, right? Because the more we are practicing Krishna consciousness, the more we become selfless. We are not concerned about, oh, I should only be the one who's happy, right? We want to give this happiness to others also. Let everybody experience the happiness of practicing Krishna consciousness. So let us practice Krishna consciousness, Janma Sarthakari, and let us do the greatest Paropakar, which is giving Srila Prabhupada's books to others. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. All right. So everyone can unmute themselves now in case anyone wants to add anything, share any experiences of book distribution or any other thing you want to share. You may do so now. So quickly for another, say, 2-3 minutes, and then we'll end our session. Anyone wants to share anything? So yeah, thank you so much. I got, Pallavi Mataji donated for about 4 Bhagavad Gita's Krishna books. Sarva Gopishri Mataji donated. Karpagavalli Mataji is also donated. So I thank all of you all for your kind contribution for this fantastic mission of distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books, especially Gita Dhan. I thank you very much with all my heart. Your contribution is going to make a difference in somebody's life. It's going to give Krishna consciousness to somebody. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai.
Mataji, Hare
Yeah.
Krishna, I think it is you grow through what you go through in English.
No, that is different. That is
different.
yeah, that is different. This is you want to give to others what you've experienced, right? The happiness that I've experienced, I want to share it with others. So
Okay.
grow through is we have an option, right? We have to go through. We don't have a choice. But do we want to simply go through situations, we're trying to escape them, or do we want to learn from them and they make them as learning experiences for us to advance in Krishna consciousness? So that is different. This is, we were talking about sharing. That is more of a personal growth, right? How are we taking the situations that we are experiencing? Yeah?
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari
Thank you.
Bol.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam.